Chris Level here with another edition of Pirate Talk. Chip Darden to my left, as always. Colton Coons behind the camera taking care of us. This is the losing games are never fun, especially a crosstown rival and all that. But you guys, what a wildly entertaining game. 51-42 was the final. This thing is 49-42 with I can't exactly remember how many minutes were left, but the Pirates have the ball. The place is going nuts. I mean, it was a beautiful night. It just not quite enough to beat the Tigers last Friday night.
Yeah, bad time for a 3-and-out right there. But yeah,
play of the game may have been their play on the third down when you ran the option, and they just
second down. Yeah.
Second down, okay, but they stopped it, and it was just a great open field tackle because you kind of went to your bread and butter there, and you went to the wide side of the field, and
and thought process there. We had a false start on second down, second and 8, had a false start. Thought process to get us to a third and manageable was kind of what we were thinking. And anyway, it was a bad play call on my part. There's no doubt about it. And their kid made a great play, and we put one of our guys in a bad position on that. So anyway, like to have that one back. But no, it was an entertaining game. Not necessarily for us coaches, but I think it was one that it's good to be in. It's not good to be down 28-0, but it's good to be in a situation where we're having to claw back and play in a game that, that wasn't our ideal game. We attempted more passes than Frenship did. We don't mind throwing the ball, but just knowing our two styles and kind of how we play, that's not typically what we do. So it was good to see us play in a different kind of a game and be able to do it, and thought our kids handled it well. I mentioned earlier that to someone of just about 2-minute O. We were really bad on 2-minute against Tascosa, but you got to be in those situations to get better at them. Then we really executed a 2-minute right before half that I think kept us in the game against Frenship. And so some of that stuff that you definitely want to see, and you definitely want to be in it in a big-time atmosphere. Our crowd was great. A lot of our kids, that'll be the biggest crowd they play in front of, and probably some that maybe ever. I hope we have those crowds from here on out as well, but just a huge crowd on both sides. And so neat atmosphere. I think it's a good game for Lubbock and good game for our area.
Yeah, and you draw from every experience, win or lose.
Yep.
There's things to draw from. There was because coming from 28 points down twice, which I thought was
maybe 3 times.
Okay, yeah, you may be right.
I think it was 35-7, and then it was 42-14.
Okay, yeah, 49-21. I mean,
yep.
I thought their quarterback Holden Phillips was. I don't know how you're supposed to play defense when the wideouts are that good, and he's just running around. It's just, I don't know what your answer is, but I thought he kind of controlled the game, and that was a bit of the difference. You're not going to see much like that going forward, I wouldn't guess.
He was impressive. I thought it was just one of the better quarterback performances that we've gone against in recent memory. He was, I think, 22 of 26 maybe. One was a throwaway, and then the other 3 were on the money that our kids made good plays to make them incomplete passes, one of them being an interception. But just everything was on the money. It was impressive. But maybe more impressive is what you're talking about. He did things with his feet. We'd seen it on film. I think we had a good plan. It is hard to practice against how elusive that is. And just so many times when somebody's elusive like that, they can get away and they're downfield and they're getting us 6 yards and running full speed that way. Well, he was just different. His eyes are downfield and keeping things alive and trying to push the ball down the field. So hard to replicate that in practice. I thought after a little bit our guys adjusted and we started getting our hands on him a little bit more, disrupting him, took him to the ground a few times in the second half. And to me, that's why our defense started getting some stops and we started getting a little momentum. But credit to him, credit to their scheme and what they did, because it was really good.
Yeah, it started to heat him up a little bit in the second half, and it made a huge difference.
Did.
But and one of the positives, we've talked about this on the broadcast. This was just my observation, but I felt like that you started to see some more offensive playmakers emerge that you were having to lean on, because you're having to get wide and you're in a hurry up and you got to throw it and you got to run it. And Jackson Austin didn't play in the second half. I thought Deuce Johnson and Cade Gant particularly kind of stepped up and started to make some plays for you, because we know what Deaver can do, you know what Jackson can do, but I thought that there was more party, more people invited to the party there from a skill player standpoint. Talk to me about that.
Those two being juniors that we've seen in the program that were really good JV players last year. Both of them played a little bit on varsity playoffs, and Cade Gant played early in non-district, played in the game, and so we've been seeing what they can do, and so it was nice to see them. And it's varsity football. They start getting more reps, they start getting more comfortable. So I'll tell you, like we kind of knew where we were at halftime. There was no question on us being able to still execute at a high level with them being a more prominent role, and they're both really good playmakers. They when they get it in space, they got a chance of going, and they're both twitchy and good hands. So we weren't surprised, but it's nice to see them have success. We've known it's coming, and kind of needed to find ways to get them the ball, and I thought we did a better job of that this week.
Yeah, Deuce goes over 100 yards rushing, and Cade almost had, I think, 60 yards receiving, just to add to what some of the other skill players were doing. Just wanted to mention that. Okay, so you in the district in the non-district at 3-1. Now the tournament starts. Now you've got a big 6-game district schedule. Plainview shows up. It's a short week. Just take me through the dynamic. Plainview's a school that you've played and been involved with many times before, but take me through this version of the Bulldogs.
Tradition-rich program. I mean, they have been a really good football program for a long time, and when we got in their district the first time, they were super talented. We had some battles with them, fun games. Obviously, coaching staffs and stuff has changed since then. But this version of them is really good. It starts with their quarterback. He is a 3-year starter for them.
Seth Mayberry.
That's the last name. Yeah. He is just controls it like that. That's the best way I can describe it. Like he does what the team needs him to do, and he's got talent to go with it. So he throws the ball on time. Got a couple of receivers that I think are really good, really talented guys, and he gets them the ball when he needs to. But he also just is smart with the football and takes care of it. I think their system is really good and kind of complementary football. You hear a lot, and I think they do that pretty well. If they need it to be a low scoring game, they take their time and they're low scoring, but they can also put points on the board. So they're good. Went through a coaching change late in the process, one of my friends that was the head coach took a job late May, and so they've got a guy that's been the offense coordinator there, and he's the interim. And I'm biased, and obviously I don't have a say in it, but I think he's earned that job, and I think he deserves to be there. Yeah, Wyatt is he's a great man and does a great job. So they're good. Like you mentioned, 2-2, 2 losses to undefeated teams, and both were very competitive. I think both of them were the same identical score, 26-16. Beating Dumas was a big deal. Dumas is good every year, and so we know we got our hands full. And the short week, I think both are under the same deal there. I would normally say, man, that's tough on us to try to prep for them, but they're in the same boat. They didn't have an open week or anything before us, so we'll see. But our guys, I think, have had a good week to be ready, but we better be ready because this Plainview team is a good team.
And this is a team, you mentioned the quarterback and everything, but they're going to throw it a lot.
Yep.
It's interesting because you saw Lovejoy, you see Frenship, now you see a Plainview team. I don't know if you're just asking me without me even knowing the answer, I'm going to guess they're either balanced or they're going to run it more. But this is the Plainview team's throwing it about 60-70% of the time.
Yep.
Is kind of just a change, cyclical, with more teams just kind of really leaning on throwing it, short control passing games, or
I think so. I think a lot of teams are doing that these days. But I also think they say, a lot of people say this about the NFL, like it being a copycat league, and and I'm not saying like Plainview is going to copy Frenship, but I also think you look at tape, and Frenship had a lot of success throwing the ball. So, I think it's fair to say that they might try to attack some vulnerabilities that they think that we might have, and but that's also just what they do. And I think a lot of it has to do with the 3-year starting quarterback. You trust a guy. I spoke about this after Tascosa went on 2 pretty critical third downs. We had a 3rd and 1, and we threw a fade ball to Reed Waters, and kind of got asked a lot about that. Said, when you really trust the quarterback to put the ball where it needs to be in those situations, it matters. It makes it easy as a play caller. So I imagine they've got a little bit of that. They really trust their quarterback, and think that's why they're probably throwing it a little bit. And then when you got one of the leading receivers in the area, that makes a difference too.
You do something unique in a game every year. I think this is there's so many things about your program that I admire and love the way that you do, because these are life lesson type, when you're in a program and on a team. Men of influence.
Yep.
This is something that you've done for, I think you said, 5 or 6 years, I guess it is. Explain what that is, because this is a behind the scenes thing. We just kind of wanted to shed a little light on it for the players that are on this team, what that involves.
Yeah, so our players get to choose one male role model in their lives that's had an impact on them, and we keep it at one. It's hard. Some of them might have several, which is kind of neat to see sometimes, that if a 3-year varsity guy might pick multiple guys each year, but they get to pick one male role model, and basically that person gets to come with them and go through the entire pregame process with them. We tell them, we'll tell the adults when they get in there, we'll talk to them about, there's certain times they can chat it up with the other adults and kind of meet each other. But when their son or grandson or friend or, nephew is with them, we want it to be one-on-one time that they get to kind of have that. And, a lot of the guys played football and want to experience that again, but some of them didn't. Some of them, I get some of the men that tell me, I never was in a football locker room, and it's a pretty neat deal. So they just basically go through all of it. They'll walk the field with our guys. They'll go to meetings when we do our meetings, and then when each group goes out and does their pregame routine, they'll go with them. They'll circle up with us, go get our pregame talk where we're getting fired up, and all the way through when they run out of the tunnel for kickoff, they'll be with them. And so it's a really neat deal. I think it's a good bonding experience for them. We've gotten really good feedback off of it. I think it's really beneficial for our players, but also for the man that they choose, that's had a big impact on them.
Do you learn more about your players, like as a coach, watching this play out?
Yeah, sometimes you can, and it's there's some that you can tell has a really big impact on and is really special, and I think it's special for all of them. But then some of kids are just different, but it's neat to see. A little bit of it's neat to see who's had an impact on their life and kind of understand where that came from. But neat deal. And I can't remember who I stole it from. Well, we stole it from somebody, just like all of our X's and O's and everything. But somebody was doing it, and we tried it one year. And once we tried it, we said we will do this every year, no matter what.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal idea. And an honor if you're one that's included in it. Yep. I would say so. That's just a win-win situation, and those are hard to come by in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
But win-win situations are always the best ones. Okay, so we're going to get to some fun stuff with Coach Darden here in a little bit. But this is a short week. Again, the game is on Thursday night, 7 o'clock, Pirate Stadium. We will have full coverage on the LCISD YouTube channel, also be on 100.7 The Score. And as normal, so make sure you are there and in place for 7 o'clock on a Thursday night. So, which I guess by the time you see this, maybe like tomorrow or today. Those are your only two choices by the time you're watching this video. 3 things. You ready?
Sure.
The fair is in town. I give you $25. And you must spend it on 3 food items. You are spending it.
And I have to go to the fair? Can I choose to leave the fair?
No, you're at the fair.
Okay.
And here's $25. You got to spend it on food, but you got to buy 3 things. You're purchasing what?
A corn dog.
Okay.
A funnel cake. And a homemade lemonade.
Man, that's pretty close to how I would have gone.
Yeah, the lemonade is solid. Like,
there's a lot of sugar.
A lot of sugar at the bottom.
That's
pretty solid.
That's almost where you can like crunch it.
Yep.
Yeah,
I like
there's some consistency there. Yeah,
I don't mind that at all.
It's not just you almost, it's so thick sometimes you can use a fork to drink it.
I hadn't done one of the crazy food items like the fried Snickers sounds delicious. But there's
fried
some crazy,
Twinkies.
Yeah, you hear about all that. I hadn't done one, but I would imagine
anything.
would imagine I'd like it.
They'll deep fry anything. If I give this $25 to your kids, how differently would they spend it on different food items?
If they have to have food, I mean, they're going to want to play every little.
No, but food. What would they?
They're going to be all sugar. They're going to try to
cotton candy.
We have to make them eat a corn dog just so they get a little
protein.
Yeah, that's the healthy thing. Making them eat a corn dog.
Otherwise, they're over there on the side throwing up. Like, we got to go. Got to go home.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting. Okay. Here's an interesting one. 3 places that you've never been that you feel like, okay, I'm going to get to these places before I check out on this earth. Like what would those 3 places be?
Yeah,
like realistic. I mean,
absolutely.
We could all say, I'd love to go to Dubai or to all these crazy.
Well, I guess the first one maybe is realistic, but Spain. We've done a. My wife and I have done Europe, but we didn't get Spain. She would like to go to France. I'm kind of indifferent there, but Spain would be a cool big trip that I would like to do. That's number 1. 2, I've never been to Florida for extended period of time, so I'd like to do one of those Florida beaches, whether it's like Destin or even some of the others. But I'd like to do that.
They used to be a big secret. Like Destin, like there was places, little nooks and crannies in Florida.
Not anymore.
I feel like now it's like secrets out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like everybody, and there's people that like literally book the same week of the same place every year, and it's like you just can't get to these places anymore.
Yeah, I'd like to do that, and then some historical stuff I wouldn't mind doing, like like Boston. I've never been to Boston.
Phenomenal city.
I think the history is what I'm interested in.
And that's all the above.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like when my wife and I did Europe, we went to Rome, and man, we spent 3 days in Rome. I could have spent 3 weeks because just the history was pretty awesome. So, yeah, I'd say that. I'd say Boston.
That's very well rounded. I like that. That's good. You had a little beach, a little history.
Yeah. Spain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Food,
yeah, good stuff.
Yep.
Okay, last one. This is
Man,
more of a
what
fun.
are we
well,
doing?
this is more of a fun one. Okay, so obviously you've got Pirate Stadium open up. Patriot Stadium's going to open up. With that in mind, your 3 favorite. And this is your opinion. Your 3 favorite sports venues that currently exist.
I don't have to have been to it.
No, just like that you admire history or I would love to go to, and it doesn't have to be any particular sport. Just 3 favorite or like iconic sports venues in your mind, but they must currently exist.
Because see, the old Boston Garden was
I agree.
Number
like
1,
to me, Texas Stadium was. I grew up going to that, and it was like just like there's a hole in the roof and all this stuff, but some of these places are not there anymore.
Yeah,
you know?
So I think for me, there's got to be a historical part to it. Like the new ones they're awesome, and I'd like to see games in them. But to me, those aren't the ones. But like the Big House is
Michigan.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like that. Yeah. That to me would be an awesome place to go watch a game. Obviously, I haven't, but that would be cool. When you think about college basketball, Cameron Indoor,
which is so tiny.
That's what you hear. It's tiny. It's not anything special, but man, it'd be fun to go watch a game.
Because you were fortunate enough when you went up to Kansas a few years ago with a lot of your coaches. It happened to be when the Red Raiders were in town. We ended up connecting up there, and you were in Allen Fieldhouse.
Yep.
And I think you were, I don't know what your thoughts were, but you were kind of surprised how small that was compared to what you think you see on TV.
Yeah, and
it's big, but it's small.
Yeah, it's kind of compact. Yeah, it is.
And another venue that I might put up there, just because I don't know the history of it, and I've seen a Sweet 16 game there, is the Pit in Albuquerque. Is a pretty cool place. It's
Kevin Pittsnoggle.
I know we got Pittsnoggle, but Mountaineers that day. But
and he loves corn dogs. Speaking of fair food, he served. If you don't know who we're talking about, it's a West Virginia stretch 4-man that
6'11", and
he served corn dogs at his wedding reception.
Love it.
That's straight West Virginia, people.
There it is.
That's the way he rolls.
There it is.
See how we just brought it all together.
Yeah, we got it all. But
the
Pit's a cool place. The Pit also, if you ever buy a ticket there, I think it's reverse on the rows because we had
row 1 is at the top.
We had third row seats. We're like, let's go, and we were at the top. So
But there's really not a bad seat there.
And it literally is a pit. The concourse is there, and then everything is underneath.
Yep.
And it's just one level. So
It's a cool venue.
that's good stuff. I love learning that about because I'm trying to think like Augusta National is one of those for me.
Yeah, okay. I
Just
wasn't
because
thinking
like
there.
iconic,
Absolutely.
Fenway.
Yeah.
Some of that Wrigley Field, some of that stuff.
Just not a baseball guy.
I would love to see like a football game at University of Tennessee.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I've
heard the tailgate that they on the
it's
river.
on the river. It's a real one, unlike what Baylor pulls off. This is a
Hey, love you, Kyler. We're good.
yeah.
Kyler had a good game.
He
the other
did,
day.
yeah. He actually did post game media.
Kobe-
I watched it.
Kobe did
Kobe
too
did
for
too.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, we've talked long enough. Okay, appreciate everybody paying attention to these shows, and thank you for Colton for putting these together for us. 7 o'clock Thursday night, Pirate Stadium, LCP versus Plainview District play begins. So with that, we will wrap this up. For Chip Darden, for Chris Lovell, for Colton Coons, it's been another edition of Pirate Talk.